All right, man. Let's talk. Let's talk, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, man. Let's have a conversation on the other side where you see a lot of women saying that they like hood ninjas, or they like you see black women in particular to have a hood swagger to them, or let me kind of just take their side for a minute, from their perspective. I mean, it's a bunch of guys that I see that just look weird. You know what I'm saying? That look like they corny. That look like, that, they look awkward. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know how to have a conversation. They don't know how to be social. And I heard somebody say this. I think it was Ron Wills recently just said that, a lot of guys are just so hyper-focused on women's height preference, which is a lie, right? Emotionally, how do you make them feel? You know what I'm saying? Emotionally, how do you make them feel? Can you bond with them or form chemistry with them on the social and emotional level? So basically, if you can have a conversation and you can, emotionally stimulate them, you'll be okay. And this is why I did a video when I first started the channel. You can make women like you more. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's not on purpose. It's you having a conversation with a woman, getting closer to a woman, she getting to know you, how you think, how y'all form a bond and chemistry. It's kind of the simple fact of, you kind of see women work around, work around men, and they start to form a bond together. Then that bond, which could be strictly platonic, it can turn into something sexual real quick, with alcohol involved or the right situation involved. So in reality, it's all about, making a woman feel comfortable, safe, /secure. If you can make them feel comfortable, you can make them feel secure, /safe, a lot of times you in the door. Especially with some attraction being a prerequisite, right? And I see a lot of dudes that just, that look weird. You know what I'm saying? The way they dress, they never put any effort into how they look, never have a fresh cut. You know what I'm saying? Always got the wild boy look. And I get it. A lot of women don't like the pretty boy look, but you got to find the balance. You got to find your style. And I just feel like your style just can't be looking like a caveman. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of dudes, beard ain't never combed, hair nappy, locks ain't never relocked. They go around with this, and then they have this socially awkward swagger about them. You know what I mean? Then they have this socially awkward swagger about them. And it's just like, you understand where they coming from. And I think, the hood mantra is just how you carry yourself. A lot of women saying that's just, you are cool, hip hop cool. You look, they really want versatility. See, they say they want to reform Pookie or reform Thug, but a lot of them really just mean they want a guy who can actually have the hip hop swagger when need be, understand the lingo, be entrenched in the culture, but also, being clean cut enough to bring around the family and to take to different spaces, business spaces, to take to these different spaces. They just want a versatile man. Now, back to the point where Brad don't have to be versatile. I get that. Hector don't have to be versatile. He can show up in Wranglers and the Paco jeans, and Brad can show up in N1 shorts, in the Hanes, dusty V-neck. I get it. But in reality, they want a black man who has versatility. And I preach versatility in your closet. At least have a few suits, have business casual stuff, have interview clothes, have, proper lounge clothes where y'all might go get something to eat. You can throw a hoodie on, you run around, sweatshirts. And I'm not mad at dudes who like to dress how they dress, cargos, jeans. If you want to spend money on your clothes, certain shirts you like to wear, but you have to know how to dress for the occasion and what these women are saying. And this is why, a lot of other women like black women, you starting to see women speak out about, liking black men. It's a simple fact is they like the versatility. They like even though some of the black men that white women go after, most of them dudes, you know, they cool in our book. As black men, they hold a conversation, they be cool. They might be a little bit on the alt side, you know what I'm saying? They might be a little bit on the you know, but you already know you can have a conversation and they understand, you know, the black plight. You feel me? I see them all the time when I live a lot out the way. Had conversations with them, you know, but back to the point, I definitely understand where women are coming from. In my opinion, I definitely understand where they're coming from when they're having the conversation about guys being weirdos, or guys being socially awkward, or guys, you know, dressing a certain type of way. It's just, you know, they not wired like us. We can see something in a nerdy chick. We can see past the nerd. We can see the ass. We can see the titties. We can see if we, you know, put her in this outfit or clean it up a little bit, you know, do it, and she'll be perfect in our eyes. You know, you hear women all the time. They don't want to build the nigga. They don't want to help a dude out. They want him to come as is. And if you let it be known, right, that you want a guy to come as is, guess what? You're gonna share dick, and that's just what it is. You're gonna share that man, and that's the beautiful, ugly truth for them. And even when you fight for this, the reason you gotta fight for it, because if I know I'm a select dude, and I know 80% of women go for 20% of guys, like just raw attraction. You're not talking about what you do for a living. Let me say that first and foremost. Even NBA players can't keep bitches. Even NFL players can't keep bitches happy. Let's just keep it a beat. Even they can't satisfy women. That's the thing about it. Even they can't satisfy women. That's a fact. Even they can't satisfy women. That's the ugly truth. Even they can't satisfy them. They leave them. It ain't never enough. You know, they can't satisfy. You know, so think about it for this point. This may be another video I'm gonna take. Even, and I talked about this on the picture. So a lot of these women will be more faithful and have more raw attraction to Pookies, Ray Rays, Latavius, Chads, you know, to bum ass ninjas basically. They will lock in with bum ninjas, build with bum ninjas, right? And I got a video talking about a woman who only lived once in her lifetime, loved once in her lifetime, man. Listen to the video. I don't completely agree with the points being made, but you know, that's what it is, right? You know, but they tend to love early in their life, even when they get with athletes, and entertainment. Well, let's just say athletes. They not even faithful to them, bro. They messing off with Pookie or Ray Ray, dude. Most people believe Aisha Curry is allegedly messing with a dude on Steph. I see the signs. You know? So it ain't no mystery. It ain't no mystery. Even they don't even want athletes, and they 6'4", 6'6", 6'3", 6'2", 7 foot. And what Shawnee O'Neal said about Shaq, I never loved Shaq. She was a stepmama. I mean, she was a baby mama when he met her. You know, most women tend to love the most terrible dudes. That should tell you a lot about women, and correlating with the Bible. It ain't a lot of good women in the Bible. Samson talked about the Jezebels and Delilah and them type of bras. It's the same thing going today. If you don't believe that the Bible is real, even though it might have been re-rocked, if you catch the lingo, a lot of it still is real. A lot of it still is real, and it's crazy. Most women fall in love with those guys and attract to those guys, right? Because that's a reflection of their character. But I do understand what they mean when they talk about certain guys look weird, certain guys, you know, kind of like it's corny, or certain guys are socially weird. You know, I get it. I see guys like that who don't look confident, who put their head down when they walking through a crowd. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you have to peel the wrapper back to get to know them. But I see them that you would think that, might go postal on the classroom. Like, I definitely get it. But us as men, we just try to look at it through a man's view for most of the time and bash the women. But they different than us. We can see a nerd chick with a big butt, and we be like, oh man, I see the beauty in her, Women don't look at it like that. Today's women just look at it as, if you ain't got it right now, I'm not helping you get it. And that's why most women ain't marriage material. It's you carrying the team and she benefiting, Is you being Shaq and Kobe and she riding the bench like Slavel Mekadinko or Mark Max. And that's the ugly truth about it. That's the ugly truth about it. So it can be great guys out there that's socially awkward, but if you get to know them, they'll come out their shell. But women know by the confidence that you walk in, your stature, how you hold yourself, how you interact with people. One of the more attractive traits to women, outside of how you dress, how you carry yourself, how you speak, how clean your teeth is, how you never stink or nothing like that, and you always look clean, even when you get off of work, is your ability to socialize. And when you come off as a social hermit or a social introvert or shy, or you scared to public speak, that's one of the worst traits you can have in any dating market. 90s, 2000s, 80s, 70s. Notice they say the guys that can make, either you got to have money or you got to be funny, to get women. That's what a pimp game is. They understand how to emotionally infiltrate a woman and socially manipulate a woman. That's it. And most guys don't have the social skills, especially that grew up on tablets, grew up on social media, and you come off as socially awkward. And I made another video on the Patreon. I said it's funny in my opinion, how all the women go for the mostly the same type of guys, right? But guys, how nerd girls don't want nerd guys, anime girls don't want anime guys, women that in higher education or smart women, they don't want smart guys. They tend to all go for the same type of guys. A little bit of the jocks, a lot of bit of the busters, the drug dealers, the bad. That's funny. And dudes mindset is totally different. It's starting to change. They'll see that potential in that nerd chick. They'll see that potential in that smart girl. They'll see that potential in that lane. They'll see the titties, the ass, they'll get to know her. You know what I'm saying? And it's starting to change. Guys are becoming just as meticulous in choosing women as women are being meticulous in choosing men. Most guys ain't dealing with it all together. And that's dangerous because you got guys that ain't even dating no more. They listen to everything women say. You got to be the talk. I have this money. So they like, all right, I'm not even going to date. I'm not even going to date no more. But, women is still going to fuck. That's the thing about it. They telling you this, and the dude that she letting blow her back out 5'5" and ain't got no money. But only dudes who really been in the trenches, they understand that. That's why I tell guys, you got to get out there and you got to play the game. Only guys that really been in it get it. They just talking. But hey, hit the link in the description, go to Patreon. Peace.